I don't want to do something that I don't want to do. Come on now. Let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it. Let me get some water. Sit down and relax. Like, I am the GPS. I'm leading you to your destination. Hello everyone, and welcome back into the channel. If you are new here, my name is Kania, and on this channel we talk about faith, lifestyle, and wellness. And today is day 20 of our 21-day series, Resting in the Lord. And if you have not done so already, if you are new here, I encourage you to click the link down below to lead you into the playlist of Resting in the Lord, and you can see what we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. And so I pray all is well with you. And this video is a little bit different because it is day 20 of our series, and today we're going to be talking about faith over fear. But I also wanted to give you guys a little life update of where I've been. Normally I'm putting out vlogs and doing the things of vlogging, and like my content is a little bit more different. But I mentioned a couple of weeks ago when I did like my second to last vlog of the year in regards to just taking kind of like a little break. I don't think I said it in that way, but it was kind of gearing towards I'm starting the 21-day Resting in the Lord series, and I won't be putting out as many vlogs as I would like to or as I have been doing, because I'm just in a different season. I'm in a different place with the Lord. And so this series so far has been not only helping me, but I pray that it has been encouraging you. This was a personal journey for me, but I wanted to take you guys along during my walk with the Lord and some things that he's been working with me on. And so I kind of took a little break from vlogging because I felt like, to be honest, that it was giving hustle, and I'm a type of person that is very like slow. I like to take my time. I don't really like to rush. And if I'm doing something for God, I want it to be done in excellence. And I felt like it was given the same kind of energy like when it's time to go to a job. It was given that kind of thing, and I didn't like that. I'm like, I want to put my best foot forward with everything that I do on this channel, especially to exalt the Lord in everything that I do. And I want to do it from a place of excellence. I want to do it from a place of my best at all times. And I just felt like the vlogging thing was just getting into hustle culture for me. And it could be because I need to like develop a better, how do you call it? A better plan, like a better content schedule, maybe. Just finding when is the right times to like, I mean, I don't know, because it's like you can't really find the right time to vlog. It's one of those things where you just pick up the camera and you just do throughout your day-to-day. But for me, it just felt like I was living my life more on camera than I really was real life. Like I was doing the thing, not really doing the things for the camera, but just like going through the motions of, I gotta get this content out, I gotta get this for content, I gotta get this for content. And it kind of just felt like a rat race for me. And like I mentioned, I'm just somebody that is more like laid back, kind of slow with things. I like to take my time, and it just was feeling like rushed. Like, and if you guys don't know, I do also work a full-time job, you know, building a business, creating content and things of that nature. Is a lot to juggle, you know, making sure that I have time with family and go out with family and like do the things. And it's like, I don't want a camera in my face all the time. I'm just being honest. And so the Lord, I'm just waiting for the Lord to like lead me in the right direction when it comes to my channel, because this channel is to exalt him, it's to glorify him, it's to spread the good news on here. And I want to make sure that I'm doing my best in doing that. And I don't want to do something that feels forced. I don't want to do something that I don't want to do. Don't get me wrong, I do love vlogging, but when I took breaks away from work, that's when I really like enjoyed vlogging the most, and it didn't feel like work, if you know what I mean. And so yeah, I just was kind of feeling like the 9-to-5 kind of thing. And let me know in the comments if you feel that way too, if you are a content creator. Like, what are some things that you do to like take your breaks, and how's your schedule like when it comes to content creating? Do you work a full-time job? Like, give me all of it, because it's like, how do you balance it all? And so that's that. And yeah, I just been working through some things with the Lord. He's just been healing me from things, and getting me, making sure that I'm on track with all of the things that he has called me to do, with business work, ministry, and those things. So yeah, and I don't have the camera in front of me doing those things, you know. It just feels good to actually live my life like for real, and not just like, oh, I gotta get this angle, I gotta get this, I gotta, like, I don't like that hustle kind of thing. And so I'm kind of taking a break from, like, I don't know if it's just for a season or it's just God just like redirecting this channel for what he will have me do, like more sit down videos, which I have been doing, which I love. So yeah, I'm just like, Lord, do your thing with this channel. This is your channel. I'm in front of your people. Like, you give me the words to speak. But I really felt led to like come on here and just give like a little life update about the channel and where I'm at in life with the Lord. And I pray that you all are well and all is well with you, and that you are working some things out with the Lord, that you've started the things that he's called you to do, that you have been obedient to his voice and you've been at his feet and just reading your word and remaining planted and anchored in him, because this is what this series was about. Like I mentioned, that we will not, the same way that we came on into this series, we're not going to leave that way. Like God is breaking some things off of us, some strongholds, stripping us away from old beliefs, old behaviors, old patterns, and all the things. So I pray that you have been encouraged in that way as well, and that the Lord has been speaking to you individually as you spend time in the secret place with him and in your quiet time. And so today we are talking about faith over fear. This topic right here is, if we're being honest, come on now, let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it. Let me get some water. Faith over fear. First and foremost, let me just say this. Stop rushing. I don't know who needs to hear this, but stop rushing. The same way that I'm encouraging you guys, I am encouraging myself, because the Holy Spirit has been telling me to slow down. Oftentimes that anxiety comes up, that fear is coming up because we are trying to rush to the goals. We're trying to rush to the marriage. We're trying to rush to the business. We're trying to rush to this, rush to that. And it's like, calm down and slow down, because at the end of the day, everything happens in a appointed time. I encourage you to read Ecclesiastes, because there's a time for everything. There's a time and a season for everything. And so the Lord will make it happen. He is the one that brings the increase. And so a lot of the fear that we begin to feel is because we're conjuring up all of these emotions in regards to like rushing. We're rushing to do all the things, and it has to be done in this timeline. Like, don't get me wrong, God is very strategic. When he calls us to do something, sometimes it has a deadline on it. Like, I need you to move now. Like, when he tells us to do something, we have to move in obedience, like right then and there. But in terms of the outcome, when it's going to happen, he might give you a specific date, but most of the time he doesn't. And we have to be okay with that and just relinquish control. Like, okay, Lord, I know what you've called me to do, and I'm going to do just that. I'm going to be obedient, and whatever the outcome is, then so be it. But a lot of times I struggled with thinking like, okay, God, what if I do all of these things and it doesn't happen, right? In the things that are promised to me, it doesn't happen. But God is not a God that he shall lie. His word will never return void. So every promise that he has made to you will surely come to pass. And so we go through all of the motions. Am I going to be successful? Am I not going to be successful? Is it going to work out for me? When is it going to work out for me? Right? And then all of these things like in our minds, and it causes that fear where we're like crippled and we don't make a move. The fear of missing out, the fear of missing opportunities, the fear of never receiving what your heart desires. Like it's just all of these things that play a part in our mental capacity. And God is like, I need you to slow down and stop rushing. I got this. We be trying to help God out. And God is like, can you just sit down and relax? Like, I am the GPS. I'm leading you to your destination. I make all of your crooked paths straight. So just follow me. Just allow me to lead the way. And so faith is trusting God. Faith is blindly walking into the unknown. Faith is knowing that God has plans to prosper us, not to harm us, plans to give us hope in a future. It tells us in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. He has plans to prosper us. So we have to rest in knowing that. Faith is trusting in God's word no matter the storms of life, no matter what comes our way. Remember in Matthew when Peter was called outside of the boat, right? When there was a big storm and the disciples are in the boat looking at Jesus like, you sleeping? Like, what's up? Like, there's a storm happening. Like, do you not see what can happen to us and you're sleeping? Right? And then Jesus called Peter out of the water. And what happened? Peter focused, he got out of the boat, but he was focusing on the storm around him and he began to sink, right? He took his eyes off of Jesus and he began to sink. And so oftentimes we are so focused on the storm right in front of us, and we're so focused on what the storm can potentially do to us because of what it's doing to the outside of us. And we take our eyes off of Jesus and we begin to go in this whole rabbit hole of fear, and the fear begins to cripple us, right? And so faith is blindly trusting God. Faith is walking this thing out, trusting that God is going to lead us to our final destination, trusting that God, what he said is going to come to pass. What he said in his word is going to come to pass. What he said to us individually is going to come to pass. Every promise will be fulfilled. That is faith, right? What does it say in Hebrews 11 chapter 1? It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So we can surely have hope for the things that God has promised us. But even if we don't see it in the physical realm, we still see it in the spiritual realm. God has given us vision for a reason. He shows us, the vision is basically a preview to what God is going to fulfill, a preview to what God is going to do. But if we don't see the full manifestation in the physical, we start worrying. We start getting afraid. Like, God, is it really going to come to pass? And oftentimes, this God was dealing with me about this too, because we live in a microwavable society where everything is just like instant. Everything is happening so quickly. And God does not move that way. Why? Because he has to prepare us. In my previous video, I talked about the incubation process, right? He has to prepare us for this thing. And so the vision is to keep us in sync with God and to keep us focused on the prize, to keep us focused on who is going to bring the increase, right? Because the vision comes from God and God is surely going to fulfill it. And so when the storms of life happen, we have a vision to hold on to and what God promised for, to continue to hope for that thing, no matter what's going on around us. Faith is also relinquishing control and surrendering and saying, you know what, God, you are the one that created me. You are the one that predestined my life. You are the one that said X, Y, and Z in the Bible. I'm just going to lift my hands and I'm surrendering because you know what's best. I don't. Anytime that I try to do it in my own strength, it fails. Anytime that I try to do it in my own strength, I burn out. Anytime that I try to do it in my own strength, it never works out. So God, I'm going to trust in you. I'm going to put my full trust in you. And I also made another video earlier this week in regards to taking our trust out of worldly things and putting it in God, right? Trusting in God alone, because he is faithful and his word will never return void. He is the only thing that is never changing when everything around us is changing. Yes, he is doing new things, but him himself, he never changes. And so we can rest in knowing that. And so like I mentioned earlier, we have these thoughts about, is it going to work out? God, if I do this, is it going to work out for me? Is it going to prosper? How is it going to go? Like, we, in our human nature, we are so inclined to know about what's going to be the end result, right? We want to know the end result before we step out. And that's not faith. Faith is stepping out, not knowing what the end result is going to be. Faith is stepping out and walking this thing out blindly and allowing God to reveal your next to you as you go along, right? So don't get paralyzed by fear. Take the step out on faith, because God promised to never leave nor forsake his children. And he is always there holding our hand in hand. Even though you might feel alone, you are not alone, because God is everywhere that we are. And so I want to encourage you with this. Nothing that you ever do unto the Lord is in vain. It all counts towards something, whether towards a physical representation or a spiritual representation or an emotional representation or a financial representation. Whatever it is, God is always bringing increase some way, somehow. It may not come in the way that we desire for it to come, but none of the things that we do unto the Lord is ever in vain. It all plays a part on this journey. And so regardless of what it produces, it will surely bear much fruit. We just have to be patient and we just have to trust the process. And so I pray that you are blessed by this video. I pray that you are encouraged, and I pray that the Lord has revealed some things to you on this journey. I want to encourage you to click the link down below to download the free 3-day workbook of Cultivating Everlasting Joy. And there is some Bible verses, there is journal areas where you can journal with the Lord and just have some quiet time with Him. It's just a mini devotional that will help you to cultivate the seed of joy, because joy comes from God and it's a seed that we must cultivate. It's a fruit of the Spirit, right? And so I pray that you are encouraged, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.